and there's been more protests in different towns and cities around the country over hotels housing asylum seekers. There's also concerns that the debate is becoming more toxic, with MPs reporting a surge in abuse and violent threats. I'm joined now by Labour MP Dr Rupa Huq, and our political correspondent Amanda Acas is here with us. Thanks for joining us today. We'll get to you very shortly, but I thought, Amanda, if you could just set out what we're seeing over the rise of protests that started at the Epping Hotel in Essex, spread across the country, and now MPs, of course, are reporting more incidents of abuse online.
Yes, well, it's been an incredibly divisive summer, I think, in terms of the discussion around what to do about the record numbers of small boat arrivals, the record number of asylum claims, people still in asylum hotels, those numbers going up despite the fact the government have pledged to end the use of hotels for asylum seekers by 2029. Clearly, there's a big backlog. The Home Office say they've made progress in trying to get through the initial decisions, but there's an issue with the appeal system. So the government's response to all of that anger that we've been seeing recently, these protests outside hotels yesterday, was to make an announcement about reforming the appeal system to try and get people through more quickly. That's been criticised in some quarters by Lord Blunkett, for example, former Labour Home Secretary, saying, well, that's not really having a clear narrative. It's not radical enough to deal with the situation. But clearly there's a lot of division around this, and we've seen some MPs reporting an increase in abuse, particularly online, given the kind of toxicity of the debate around this. Caledenia, the Green MP, talking about the fact that the far right feels emboldened and validated by other political parties dancing to their tune. She says the abuse she's been sent has got noticeably worse in the last few months, escalating in some cases to violent threats. The Guardian today reporting one MP being sent online rape threats and increasing death threats as well. And of course, we've seen terrible outcomes of previous kind of toxic language against MPs. So this is very concerning.
So that's the lie of the land. That's a story. Labour MP Rupa Huq is here listening to all that. What's your experience online as an MP, as a woman of colour, to reports of bullying, toxicity? What's it been like?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've been an MP for 10 years now. I've done 4 general elections, and I do think the climate has changed. I mean, if you think about, I don't know, a programme like The Crown, there are certain people, MPs, royals, that used to have a degree of deference. And in a way, it's good that that's broken down. But in some ways, if everyone is fair game, that's a bad thing as well. I think people just have to get a grip because, you know, since when was it all right to just abuse MPs? And the incident that's happened to my colleague Anna Dixon is really shocking because it's by another MP as well, who should know better.
For viewers who don't know about that, tell us what happened.
Yeah, so I think actually we live in an era also of clickbait. So before, people would make a speech in the House of Commons and develop an argument, whereas now people just sort of chop them up and then put them in a video. So a video was circulating blaming my colleague for not voting against a grooming gangs inquiry. I mean, the facts of it are completely different because it was a Tory wrecker amendment to a bill. It's not like she stopped. Anyway, never let the facts get in the way. So these little clips get spliced up into a video and it gets shared by a Tory MP who's sort of enjoying it. And then as a result, she gets death threats over this long weekend, and it's completely unacceptable.
Where do you think the buck falls when it comes to protecting MPs and making sure that, you know, you feel safe going to work, doing your job?
Yeah, I think it's a multi-pronged approach. I mean, obviously, social media has ramped this right up. And so the platforms, I actually sit on this committee that the Speaker of the House of Commons has set up. So it's good these things are being taken seriously. But it's not right that you can hide behind some online alias that nobody knows who you are. Do you know what I mean? These sort of things now spread like wildfire. And also, I just think people have to get a grip. There's obviously problems that need resolving, but these sort of clickbaity, it just feels like people do things for clicks and shares and instant gratification, and it's all being fed by a culture wars thing at the same time. So there's a lot of things going on here.
And what's your experience online? Have you received threats, or what's it been like for you?
I mean, I have. I mean, the most recent one, somebody was locked up for, goodness me, this was and it's often our staff who are the front line. So every MP, behind every MP, there's a team of people that are working really hard to make them look good. So it was a member of my staff who had to pick up 17 really horrible voicemails. And it was a bloke, it turned out that I hadn't got him the council house that he wanted. And things are easier said than done. And so he was detained, I think, near Heathrow. They found him, and then he was made to sign on every day at the local NIC, which actually is not that far from where I live. But the point is, we need to protect our staff as well, because they're often young 20-something people. They come into politics, they're idealists, they want to make us look good, and then they get the brunt of all this. So, yeah, I think it's a multi-pronged thing. So partly it's the platforms can't let themselves be open to abuse like this. And I guess the Elon Muskifization of Twitter has helped that a lot. The algorithms change. So if you look at one nasty thing, you start looking at loads of them. But it's also the general public as well have to maybe it's the hot weather, maybe it's August, everyone's getting a bit overexcited, get a grip.
And how does it compare to Brexit? We obviously saw a lot of toxicity online surrounding that. Is this worse than that?
Brexit was a sustained thing over a couple of years, really. I think that whole 2017 to 19 Parliament. I mean, I'm hoping this is a temporary summer phenomenon. And I remember, gosh, as long ago as the 1981 Brixton Toxteth riots, it was a load of rain that stopped these crazy protests going on. So, you know, some of the things we're seeing, you've been reporting them at hotels and things. I don't know if it's just August. People haven't. I mean, look, there are real issues that need resolving, as I say, but this sort of lynch mob mentality is not the right way to go about doing that.
OK, we'll leave it there. Rupa Huq, thanks for joining us in the studio this morning. Really appreciate it.